Lauren's on the story over there. Lauren?
Hey there, guys. Good morning to you. So he was released on a summons to return here to Atlantic City, and he'll be back today at 1 o'clock to face these very serious charges. You might remember the surprising Memorial Day mugshot, not the way Phillies fans want to see the 27-year-old Venezuelan center fielder booked under his name, David Adubel Herrera. Police were called to the Golden Nugget Casino in Atlantic City on Monday, May 27th, because of some sort of domestic dispute. Police telling us the victim was physically assaulted in her hotel room. They say once she left that room, she tracked down hotel security, hoping to get some help. The Atlantic City Police Department was called in. The arrest report saying an officer noted that female victim had visible signs of abuse to her arms and her neck. Herrera was arrested in his hotel room, and the victim declined medical attention. As soon as that news broke, Herrera was placed on an administrative leave for 7 days, pulled from the lineup. On that 7th day, Monday, June 3rd, MLB announced that leave was then extended another 2 weeks until today. So no timeline was given on any further action, nor did they disclose the length for any potential suspension that may be given. Herrera in his 5th season with the Phillies, but could it abruptly become his last? We're going to find out much more, of course, today here in Atlantic City at 1 o'clock. Mike and Alex.
Okay, we'll have a camera there.
We certainly will.
All right, 6:37.
So let's get to Lauren to get an update on what we could expect today.
Hey guys, did you see the score yesterday? The Phillies Braves 15-1 to end that series. Really tough series for them. And it could be because they're without one of their star players who's expected here in Atlantic City today to be in court at 1 p.m. He will be here to face some really serious charges. And as soon as the clubhouse learned of the allegations of simple assault, what followed was a pretty simple decision. The 27-year-old outfielder was placed on administrative leave for 7 days. Then a week later, on that 7th day, the leave was extended for 2 more weeks until today. So his 1 p.m. court appearance should shed some light into his future with the Phillies. He might not be able to survive these pretty serious charges that landed him in this booking photo. The Memorial Day mugshot shocked fans, booked as David Adubel Herrera and charged with simple assault. It all stemmed from an altercation with a 20-year-old woman from Philadelphia who was identified at that time as his girlfriend. Apparently, the two got into some sort of argument that turned physical. She left the hotel room they shared. She flagged down hotel security. They called police, and Atlantic City police reported visible signs of physical abuse on her body. He was arrested in their hotel room. Now, the female victim declined any medical attention back on that night. Herrera was released with a summons to report back here on this date. So 1 p.m. is when he's expected to stand before a judge to face the simple assault charges. And at that time, I guess, guys, we'll find out more about his future with the Phillies. Hey there, guys. So regulars at this Wawa say they're a little on edge and people are afraid of what's happened here. No one has answers on what can be done about violence in their neighborhood, but police hoping the answer is to put the surveillance video out for the public to see. So take a good look at these men. Police say they stormed into this Wayne Wawa around 3 a.m. on Monday. The men approached on foot one by one, coming into the store, all dressed in dark-colored hooded sweatshirts, gloves, and masks. Police say they seemed to know exactly what they were doing. That last suspect waiting and locking the doors behind him, maybe even practicing this all beforehand, according to police. The men forcing employees to the back of the store, locking them in a bathroom, but not before getting money from the registers and the safe inside. Now police and Wawa are putting up $10,000 to get the men in custody and convicted of an armed robbery.
I certainly think that, you know, the money will open some people's eyes. They'll pay a little more attention and hopefully it'll bring somebody in.
Scary. But these are the times we live in.
They knew what they were doing. They had the doors locked. They had followed some procedures that would seem like they had practiced. Luckily, nobody was hurt. Nobody was injured. And they left on foot, and we are currently following those leads.
So this Wawa was in the news, as Mike mentioned, back in March. A man marched right inside with a semi-automatic assault rifle, gunned down his ex-wife in front of customers. The two were going through a very bitter divorce. She thought they were simply meeting up for a child custody exchange. Police do tell us the employees who were in the store that day were not the same employees who were here yesterday morning. In fact, Wawa says their employees are more like family. They are taking the necessary steps to make sure they are okay. Some of those employees have transferred to different stores, others undergoing counseling after 2 very traumatic incidents. Mike and Alex.
Well, I can understand that completely.
Right.
All right, Lauren, 7:08.
Hey there, Karen and Thomas. So police say they know that these suspects came in the same way they left, and that is on foot. So there was no getaway vehicle here at the scene. And when they went inside that store, police say they were deliberate and they wanted everything. Police want you to get a good look at the three men wearing dark-colored hooded sweatshirts, gloves to cover their hands, and masks to disguise their faces. One of them wearing a distinct reddish-orange colored mask, and police say only one of them had a gun. They released a surveillance video to us hours after they stormed into the mainline store around 3 a.m. on Monday. Once inside, they forced all of the employees to the back of the store. One of them demanded the safe key from the manager. They emptied the safe and the registers as well. Police say the men wore distinctive items of clothing, which should help someone recognize them. And they've teamed up with Wawa to offer $10,000 for the arrest and conviction of these three men.
We take it seriously in Radnor. We don't want this to happen in our community, and I know nobody else does, but we're stepping up to the plate and giving an incentive to put an end to this so nobody gets hurt in the future.
You always have to watch your back. You always have to be aware, no matter where you are, Center City or the main line. You just have to be aware anymore.
I'm shocked. I can't believe it.
I don't think either of those two things are connected at all. I mean, one was a domestic issue. I don't think there's ever been a lot of crime here before. I live in the neighborhood. I feel very safe here.
Well, this is the second time the store's been in the headlines. Back in March, a man stormed inside the same store with a semi-automatic rifle, shot and killed his ex-wife. She thought the two were meeting for a child custody exchange. Police are confirming the employees who were here the day of that domestic murder were not the same staff members who were here yesterday to experience that awful armed robbery. Police telling us that Wawa is working with these employees. They are offering some of them to relocate to different stores. Others of them are being offered counseling. Hopefully, this is a really tough situation to experience, Karen and Thomas. They can be helped through their pain and trauma.
You can see why, Lauren, this is causing a lot of concern for people in the area.
Absolutely, and the doctors and researchers we're now hearing from this week say it's climate change. One of those conversations that sometimes gets political, but for doctors there, they say it's really a matter of life and death. And it happened to come to their attention because people started rushing into the emergency room after spending some time in the Delaware Bay. One man who fell victim, as you mentioned, Angel Perez, was crabbing right here in the Maurice River in Millville. A day later, he was in really bad shape. Leg was swollen. The meds he got from urgent care weren't working. He ended up at Cooper in Camden, where doctors say the delay in getting there caused the bacteria to worsen. Eventually, all of his limbs were amputated. That was last summer, and he wasn't the only one. Between 2017 and 2018, doctors at Camden saw 5 cases come through the hospital, all of the patients with very similar stories. Now, research has led them to release their findings in a new study on Monday. In it, they say rising water temperatures could be to blame.
That's true, yeah. It's got a lot warmer. It's hot in the summertime, ain't it? Yeah. Yeah, and where the ocean's a little cool, it's always hot here. Yeah, it's always been warmer than the ocean, but not this warm. Okay. It's climate change or something. Something's going on.
Well, the bacteria known technically as Vibrio vulnificus occurs in 2 ways in the cases they studied. Wound infections happen through breaks in the skin when people come in contact with the water, and the intestinal infections occur after the consumption of seafood. Either route can lead to bloodstream infections, and the mortality rate is very high. Researchers are now asking doctors to be on high alert when they see outdoorsmen coming into hospitals with rare conditions and maybe things they've never seen before. And anyone who loves fishing and maybe crabbing in South Jersey or Delaware are encouraged to be extremely careful, especially with the summer months here. Also coming up in about an hour, one of the doctors who was the co-author of that study will be joining you, Mike and Alex, to talk more about her findings and what her message is for the general public.
Yep, she'll be right here on the desk. Nice job, Lauren. Thank you.